I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. We're tracking Cyclone Gretel, we're tracking a cold southerly and a big high, and later in the week, some showers and an autumn change. So we've got a lot going on. Let's kick off with the animated wind map. What a busy one today. It's hard to believe that this part of the world has this big drought going on when you see a cyclone just there and a big subtropical low just there, but that's the reality. Unfortunately, and for those who've been watching all of our news updates over the weekend, you won't be surprised by this, but the storm is very likely to track a fair bit out to sea. Now, it's just close enough to bring in some severe weather risks, but it's far enough away to reduce the chance of rain. And so it's a bit of a one step forward, one step back, or even two steps back for those who need rain. So it's unfortunate, but you don't have the wind to worry about. You don't have a cyclone to worry about. So, that's the positive spin that I've got for you. Now, there's a cold change at the same time spreading up New Zealand. This is the southerly here. Temperatures are dropping significantly today in the South Island, well below average, and the next couple of days will be the same. So at the same time that this is coming down, there's a developing squash zone between the high and the low, and that means a windier, cooler sou'easter is coming in for Tuesday. And this is lunchtime Tuesday. Wow. So there is the cyclone just off to the northeast with equivalent of a category 1 or 2 tropical cyclone. It will technically lose that tropical status, but that doesn't mean that the storm is any less of a storm. It just means the middle part goes from having warm air to cold air, or sort of localized air rather than tropical. So there's a bit of a change going on technically. That weakens one side of the storm, more of this eastern side. But the reason why the isobars are so squashed up on this side is simply the squash zone between the middle of that low and the middle of that high. So the two systems are sort of squashing together, and that makes for a windier sou'easter right across the North Island, coupled with that cooler change. It won't be what you might think when a tropical storm's coming down. Sometimes we can get this sort of setup though. So the main portion of the warm weather that's way offshore, the strong winds, it's what we call a 50-50 event or a fine line event. It's not a fizzer. A fizzer is when the storm falls apart completely before it gets to us. In this case, you can see there's a storm there, but we're right on the edge of it. So the gale force winds, they start where that rain is and goes out to sea. The damaging winds, they are just in this portion here. That's a few hundred kilometers away, so that's the good news. But as the storm tracks like this, the squash zone through the hills over here might see gusts over 100 k's an hour, and also around Great Barrier Island. That's really the only main places that have got serious wind problems to worry about, over 100 k's. They might also pick up through Cook Strait, but that's not exactly breaking news. The other feature is the rain. As you can see, it is that 50-50 fine line event. Most of the rain is out at sea. It is just brushing Northland, so the western side might have 0, the eastern side 5, 10, 15 millimeters. Hopefully, it just jogs a little bit closer to us. We can get some more rain, but without the wind. Okay, let's move through the week. Wednesday, the storm's out to sea. The squash zone is still there, so still a little bit windy around Gisborne and East Cape. And don't forget, just because the weather here isn't that rough, the seas will be. So you've got dangerous sea conditions, beach conditions, all the way along the eastern side of New Zealand, right down to about Waited Upper. So just keep that in mind over the next few days as that storm, which is following on from a subtropical low, which is already out at sea. So we've got a double whammy, if you like, out there. On the other side, things are calming down. So as we go through Wednesday, that high is in charge, and as we go through Thursday, the high shifts further to the north. A few showers coming in. They'll be very welcome in Northland, but the totals aren't going to be much. And then you've got a windier setup further down the country. And our final map for the working week is this one here for Friday, which shows again more showers in the western North Island. They'll be very welcome in Waikato, so that's a good thing. Not looking so likely in Northland because of the high pressure. Then we've got this area of low pressure. This is more like an autumn weather pattern now. So as we give you the final map for Saturday, there's a low in the Southern Ocean, a high over northern New Zealand, a subtropical nor'wester for the North Island. But the good news is you'll get some showers, and I think more and more these droughts are going to end with death by paper cuts. Lots of showers rather than one big cyclone or one big low. That does seem to be the setup. We're getting more showers into these northern areas. It's frustratingly slow for many of you, I get that, but there is some positive outlook this week with those showers, and more rain on the west coast with that low but there's another high waiting in the wings. That is all from me. Before I go, don't forget to go to our New Look homepage. We've got this story up here with 10 maps talking about the cyclone. And before you ask us how much rain is falling at our place or will we get wind, just look at your local forecast. We've got more granular forecast than NERA and Met Service combined. So you've got the power of IBM Watson's supercomputer crunching your rainfall numbers specifically for where you live. That's why we put them there. So you've got hourly rainfall totals, you've got hourly chance of rain, you've got daily rainfall totals, and that all goes out for 10 days. And it's all free. So go to weatherwatch.co.nz for all that information. We'll see you again on Tuesday with the latest as Gretel moves closer to New Zealand.